On today's Hashi, I'm discussing general divides on the economy. Realtor.com came out with a report on that, along with housing and rates, shrinkflation in new homes, and weekly unemployment for the last 7 days. All right, today's Thursday, August 28, 2025. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hashi starts now. Live from Connecticut, up here in my Connecticut studio. If you're in the Northeast, boy, 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m., Haley, just a little chilly for me coming from South Florida, but beautiful. What already feels like fall weather. That makes me happy that there's fall weather, because that means what I've been saying all of August: summer is over, serious times are ahead. We're heading into Labor Day weekend. I hope everybody's going to have a great Labor Day weekend. Whether you're starting tomorrow, working the weekend, what have you, wishing you and yours the best here over the weekend. We're closing out this week of the Hot Sheet right here. It was a full week. This show happens every Monday through Thursday when markets are open, 9:30 on the East, 6:30 on the West. We won't be going live on Monday because that is the Labor Day. So no show on Monday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. So this is it until Tuesday, and let's get right into it. All right, 42% of home buyers, according to a new recent Realtor.com survey, says this: 42% of home buyers and sellers see the economy right now as getting worse before it gets better. Article's up on nowbam.com. You can't find this article on Realtor.com. This was sent directly to news outlets. Americans are clearly divided when it comes to the outlook for the economy and the housing market. What stands is the optimism among younger generations. This is where, as we break down the demos on this report, to me, this was very interesting. Hey, the younger generations, Gen Z, millennial, a little more optimistic than the boomers on the economy. Okay, by the way, millennial, those are going to be potentially the buyers as this as the interest rates start to break through. So interesting. Here's the generational divide on the economy. Then we'll get into rates and housing. Slides will be uploaded into, or are uploaded right now for you, inside of BAMX on school.com/BAMX to grab those. What do you think will happen with the economy over the next 12 months? Listen to this. 50% of boomers believe the economy will worsen. It's the highest of the four demos here. Baby boomers, 50%, 1 out of 2 boomers say economy is going to worsen. 17% say the same, and 33% believe it'll improve. Gen X, right there with boomers at 25 or 49% rather, say it'll worsen. So just under the 50%. But almost 1 out of 2 Gen X saying, hey, economy will worsen. 25% believe it'll stay the same, and only 27% of Gen X believe it will improve. Millennials, only 39% believe the economy will worsen, and Gen Z, only 31%. So either Gen Z just hasn't seen enough history to be like, okay, this is when things get worse. Or maybe they're optimistic. They're looking at, hey, the rates. They're looking at 2026, year 250 of America. Maybe they got more American pride than people are giving Gen Z credit for. 38% say this economy's going to improve. Rates are heading in the right direction. And I like where my crypto fund is at, baby. So 38% of Gen Z saying improve. More optimism coming on the economy from millennials and Gen Z versus baby boomers and Gen X. Okay. It's just interesting because listen, boomers got all the money. 1/7 of the world's wealth is, wrapped up in the hands of 70 million American baby boomers. They own a ton of real estate, and they're looking at the next 12 months, and 1 out of 2 are saying it's going to get worse. Now, remember, boomers over the last 10, 20 years have become very political. And if you think about that, well, what is 1 out of 2 boomers? Well, 1 out of 2 boomers are on the side of the political aisle that continues to take L's from since November. And so you see this a lot, right? Like, okay, um, partisan people on the left thought the economy was doing good in 2023 into 2024. Now those same political partisan people on the left think the economy's doing terrible, and vice versa, right? So it's just interesting. Boomers who, they say our world has become so divided, yet boomers have gone really down the deep political rabbit hole on how this, country should take shape going into, the future that, quite frankly, they'll be a part of for the foreseeable, but not the long term, right? And so when you look at that, oh, 1 out of 2, I would say that Gen Z's a little less political than wrapped into politics as a whole, as a demo. They're younger, they're not paying attention as much as the boomers with more time and more wealth. So um boomers at 50% feeling about the economy. Some of that, to me, I look at it as we have some political, you know, some partisan political ideologies driving that. Interest rates, okay? When you look at 40% of boomers, largest now demo improve, the argument to what I just said would be, hey, boomers are like, the economy gets worse. That means interest rates improve. You can see that over time, right? For interest rates over the next 6 months to dramatically reduce, like a dramatic reduction on a 30-year fixed mortgage rate by 1%, you would need labor to really be in a bad spot, really get worse. We're going to look at unemployment report that we have here this morning in just a little bit. So boomers get that. A lot of history of being able to see the two ends of the spectrum. So this makes sense. Over the next 12 months, what do you think is going to happen to interest rates? Well, I think they're going to improve because I think that the economy is going to worsen. Makes sense. Stay the same for boomers, 26%, or get worse is 34%. Gen Z's on the other side, only 31% believe interest rates will improve. 40% believe it'll stay the same, and 27% think it'll worsen. It's pretty much where the millennials and even Gen X are at on that, give or take a little bit between the stay about the same and the worsen. Gen X coming in at 38% on rates getting worse. Okay. Now, housing market expectations. Younger buyers, Gen Z, millennials, more bullish on the housing market right now. So even though boomers say, hey, rates are going to get better at a bigger rate than any of the four demos here, Gen Z and millennials believe that the housing market will improve over the next 12 months more than Gen X and more than baby boomers. 35% for Z, 28% for millennials. They're in the low 40% for stay about the same. 25% of Gen Z think the housing market will get worse, and 30% of millennials, while 36% of boomers and 37% of Gen Z believe the housing market will get worse. So there you go. There's this is a poll from 1,000 agents. Americans are divided on the economy, clearly, as it comes to age. More optimism on younger generations, more optimism from the younger generations on the housing market overall. 1,000-person sample size from realtor.com. There you go. The article's up on nowbam.com. We'll link it obviously down below, and all the slides will be uploaded into bamxschool.com/bamx for our members. New homes right now, according to Lending Tree, they're getting smaller, not bigger. New homes are taking longer to sell. We went through that yesterday, over 9 months. Yesterday or the day before, maybe it was. 9 months of inventory for builders. They're just sitting on this high level of inventory. Their stocks are getting better. And Warren Buffett went and bought a bunch of the stocks earlier this year. That's driven those stocks up. And there's a belief that the rates are going to give them the tailwind that they need going into 2026. Their confidence is down. They haven't felt that tailwind quite yet. And they're building smaller homes to try to make up some of the ground. Okay. New homes are 11% smaller, yet they're 74% more expensive per square feet. Okay. So here's some of the key findings. New home sizes, they've shrunk over the past decade, except in the Northeast where inventory is the lowest. Okay, so you have high inventory. How do you compete with that? You try to get the price down. How do you try to keep the price stable? Well, you take a little bit away from the house. That's what's happening in the Sun Belt states. What's happening in the South. It's happening in the West. It's not happening in the Northeast. The average size of new single-family homes sold nationwide decreased 11.2%. Yet the Northeast saw a modest increase of 2.1%. The South sees the biggest decline at 13.2%. Why? The South's the most competitive on new construction. Okay. So that's kind of the give and the take there. Here you go. Change in average size of new single family homes sold in the last 10 years, 2014 to 2024. The Northeast, the 2.1% increase, that's a 2,668 square foot increase in 2014 to 2,700 square feet in 2024. Okay. The Midwest, 10% decrease from 2,500 down to almost 2,300 in 2024. The South, 2,800 square feet in 2014 down to under 2,500 square feet in 24. In the West, 10.4% decrease from 2,600 square feet in 2014 to just under 24 in 24. So there's your historical sizes of new single family homes sold. Everybody thinks they want an 1,800 square feet home until they go into it and they're like, there's nowhere to put all my crap. I mean, talking about the boomer demo, they've accumulated a lot of crap over the years. Some do get, hey, I want to live the new life, downtown walkability, 900 square feet is all I need. I'm a minimalist. But there's not a lot of boomers that are a minimalist. They've been collecting stuff. They can't get away from the boxes and the stuff. They like a 2-car garage. They like extra storage in the garage. They like extra storage in the closets. And listen, people with families want extra storage. So you're not seeing a lot of these 1,800 square foot homes. I know van life's a thing, Haley. I don't know if Gen Zers are into van life. That was maybe more of a millennial thing at one point. One of the most annoying. Now, listen, I love the van people. I got no problem with people camping. But that was one of the most annoying ideologies that was going to become the way of life for people. Small, tiny homes. People want to live. They want their sink right on top of their toilet. I don't believe a lot of people want that. It doesn't show up even in this reduction of size of new homes. The reduction of size in new home is due to the regulation that the builders are on. It's due to trying to be competitive on affordability. It's carving a little bit out here and there where you can. But these numbers, I mean, 2,500, 2,600 square feet, even still today, people want space. People want big homes. This isn't driven by a want more than a need of where builders need to come in at. But here's the historical size of new single family homes. It peaked in about 2014, up over 2,700 square feet. Today, we're at 2,400 square feet. For this to go below 2,000 square feet, which we haven't been in the last 30 years, I'd be very shocked if that were to happen. Jerome Powell, he wouldn't care. Put everybody in a shoebox. If it was up to him, everybody would be renting. Everybody would be doing the same thing. We could maximize employment and stabilize pricing. He doesn't care about the housing market. Listen, I don't think that's how this country is going to operate. I think people want their own thing, their own space, their own creativity. And I'd be shocked if this number ever goes under 2,000 square feet for the average size of new single family homes. I don't care how robotic and technical we get. Humans like space. If I got more time on my hands, I'm going to want more space, not less. I actually would argue that these homes get bigger as people move further out of city centers in the future. Here's the average size here of new single family homes sold over the years. You can see the Northeast has really been sitting in just under 3,000 range for a long time. Midwest really not getting close to 2,000 except for recently here at about 2,300 square feet in 2024. South sitting at 2,400 and the West at 2,300. Okay. So these smaller homes that are making a comeback are making that comeback, but not everywhere. 35%. Here's the distribution size of average new single family homes in 2024. 1,800 to 2,400 is 35%, and 24 to 2,900 is 21%. And then you do have 21% making up the 1,400 to 1,800 category. 3,000 to 3,900 is 14%. So the three categories here, still sizable homes. That's where the majority of the homes are being built, up over that 2,000 square foot home. Here's the change in the average square foot price per square foot in the Northeast. In 2014, it was 143. It's $239 today per foot. Midwest was $101 back in 2014, now 164. And the South, 72% increase, $89 a foot in 2014, up to 153 a foot. And the West, which was only $109 a foot in 2014, is now $223 per square foot in 2024. And that is why you're seeing the reduction in size in builders, because the price per foot has gotten so high. Okay. If you want the breakdown of how Lending Tree is looking at what the Northeast, Connecticut, Maine, Mass, New Hampshire, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont. I guess we'll let Pennsylvania. Tom Toole always says that we're the Northeast. I'm like, you're kind of Pennsylvania. I don't know. Maybe Philly's Northeast, which is where obviously he is. But so there you go. On the screens, the rest of the breakdown. You got the Midwest, South, which would include Florida and Texas in that analysis, and the West, which would include Arizona. So some of those big new construction states, Arizona and California, Colorado being in the West region, Texas, Florida being in the South. So there you go on that. Put all the slides used there into school.com/BAMX for you. All right. We got to watch it every single week. What's going on with unemployment? Last week we had that pop, which was revised down from 235,000 to 234, but that was a weekly move up in what is, an increasingly nervous job market. Jerome Powell talked about the downsides to the job market outweighing now the downsides to inflation, finally admitting that tariffs don't really move inflation. The government printing money is what moves inflation. But anyways, Jerome Powell talking about those downsides to the job market. We're watching it every single week. We saw the pop on unemployment last week to 235,000. This week, though, initial claims moved back down to 229,000, kind of where we've been at. The 4-week moving average is 228,500. It's an increase from 2,500 from the previous week's revised level. That increase obviously driven by the pop a little bit last week. But overall, initial claims on unemployment, not out of control. You got to get up over 250,000 for there to be major concerns. So while there's still concerns about the job market, we don't see it showing up in weekly unemployment just yet. I think it's the number of ongoing claims is the one for unemployment that is being looked at the most. Okay, so how many people are staying on unemployment instead of entering the job market, despite the job market having 7 million openings? Not saying that's a game that some people play, but that would make common sense. That is a game some people play. Okay. 1.954 million, which is the continued claims. That's the number, about 2 million continued claims on unemployment, which is down 7,000 from the prior week. The prior week was also revised down 11,000 from 1.972 million to 1.961 million. 4-week moving average on continued claims is 1.95 million. And that's kind of where we've been at there. And same week last year was 1.883 million. So that's where, when you're looking at people staying on unemployment, you're staying on unemployment longer despite the 7 million job openings. All right. Here's the states with the highest insured unemployment rates. Jersey, Rhode Island, Mass, Minnesota, California, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, sliding in there, Connecticut, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. States with the largest increases in initial claims: Kentucky, Iowa, Virginia, Ohio, South Carolina, and the states with largest decreases in initial claims: California, Michigan, Texas, Jersey, Minnesota. All right. There is your update on the feared weakening labor market right now. One of the arguments against the weakening labor market, of course, is today and always has been getting rates to go down. The 30-year fix obviously follows the 10-year, and the 10-year is coming in at 4.23. Over the last 5 days, it's kind of a low spot for us. Over the last month, it's relatively low spot. So for 10-year looking good. Yesterday, we hit a new fresh 30-year fixed year-to-date low at 6.51. The recent fresh was Friday, 6.52. Also hit day before yesterday, which would have been the day before yesterday, would have been Tuesday, right, Haley? Tuesday was our last year-to-date low, 6.52, after hitting it on Friday. Yesterday being Wednesday, coming in at 6.51 to finish the day. Okay. Our Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weeklies at 6.58 as of last week. That number will get updated later today. Okay. CME Group, with 20 days to go before the Fed's next FOMC meeting, is at 85% chance that the Fed will ease rates on the September meeting, a 14% chance that they do not ease rates. There is your hot sheet for the week going into Labor Day weekend. When we come out of Labor Day weekend, I'll be back with you live 9:30 on the East on Tuesday, 6:30 on the West. We'll be in serious times. Everybody's back to school. It gives the adults in America time to focus on the big moves, the careers, how to end the year strong before the holiday distraction comes and that seasonal decline in housing. I'll be right here with you to take you through all of it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody has a safe, healthy, happy Labor Day weekend. No Knowledge Brokers pod over on the other channel. So just make sure you're subscribed here. Subscribe there. We'll be back next week as well. It's the best way to support us. Hit the subscribe notification bell, and I'll be back with you on Tuesday. Until then, of course, toodaloo.